The Divine Comedy is an Italian narrative poem written by Dante Alighieri, completed in 1321, and it is widely considered one of the greatest works of Western literature. The poem's imaginative vision of the afterlife is representative of the medieval worldview as it existed in the Western Church by the 14th century. What many people may not know is that Dante, the author, put himself to be the main protagonist of the story. The Divine Comedy presented a concept of hell that's still being depicted to this very day, divided in 7 rings, each one for each capital sin. On top of that, Dante puts some real people with it, to which some of them are depicted suffering in hell, such as the Pope at the time, tax collectors, and people that he mainly didn't like. But what I'm trying to say is that considering all of what I just said, the famous book The Divine Comedy is one of the, or even the first one, fanfiction to go around outside its bubble and to be really famous. Such as Twilight series or any other mediocre teen romance that ever existed. But why did they all blow up? Why did them get so much space despite being original work made for fans by fans? Well, the answer is quite simple. They have some really good writing and a good narrative. Well, some of them. In fact, it's awesome that people are able to make such interesting stories by themselves. And it's crazy to think that this came from another original work that inspired another original work. Today, we are here to see one of those well-written stories, a fan comic to be exact, with a good storytelling, an interesting narrative, and a nice art style. But unfortunately, it all gets spoiled because of a simple element. It's about incest. Well, for those not familiar with the term loudcest, I envy you, but also here's a resume about it. The Loud House is a cartoon from Nickelodeon made by, you guessed it, another sex criminal called Chris Savino. He also worked in other animations such as Kick Buttowski from Disney XD and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends for Cartoon Network. But Loud House is his original work. This show's about this 11-year-old boy called Lincoln Loud, an awkward boy trying to survive and live a normal life with a cast of 10 other sisters that he has in the same house, while being the middle brother between a cast of his 10 other sisters varying in age, to which I don't care enough to list all of them by their names except for one. Ling Loud, one of Lincoln's sisters, that is something about 1 or 2 years older than him, and she is the athlete of the family and a very energetic person. Keep that in mind, for they are the main protagonists of this story. Now, as you might be thinking, the term loudcest is a term made by the fandom of the Loud House. It is a mixture of the words loud and incest. So basically, loudcest is the act of shipping Lincoln with one of his sisters. I'll let you digest this piece of information by yourself. Of course, this is not a well-seen thing between the fandom, for obvious reasons, although it never stopped no one to do it. And today we are about to dive into that hellhole and read a comic that treats this exact subject, called Rewrite the Stars, created by underrated hero that tells the story about how Lincoln and his sister Lynn got in love and how their relationship advanced during the years. If any one of you guys wants to check it out, the author posts updates on the production of the comic on their Twitter, and you can also subscribe to their Patreon. As well, there are unofficial reposts on DeviantArt because, well, we're in hell. Of course. Fasten your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. You can call me Vault, your soon-to-be favorite astronaut, and let's get right into this comic. The story starts with a narration and a sight of the night sky. Len and Lincoln are talking about the past. Len's asking Lincoln if he ever wanted things
to be different between them.
To which he responds, saying that it would be great if they hadn't lost so much in the past. But still, he wouldn't change a single thing, for all they have been through shows that what they have is true, and meaningful. The conversation then proceeds to them wondering when they started to have these feelings for each other. What was the starting point to all of it? But both of them can't think of a turning point to when it started. It's said that they have always been this way since the beginning. We then cut to 2009 at the Loud residence, and the narration continues with Lynn asking Lincoln if he remembers how things used to be in the past. She then says that things were a little bit different. A smaller house, a smaller family, but some things never change. She says it as we are introduced to them when they were little kids, playing tag in a bedroom. As they continue playing, Lincoln ends up falling face first into the ground and hurting his nose. Because, well, little kids I guess. Lynn gets understandably worried for her brother, who was the youngest at the time, and tries to comfort him. That stills until the other sisters arrive at the scene, claiming that they have heard a noise coming from the room and asking what happened. We then get presented to the younger versions of the older sisters in the show. They then start to give Lynn a lecture on the fact that Lincoln is crying. Apparently this is not the first time that this happened between those two, so they accuse Lynn to be too rough during their time playing because Lincoln always ends up crying or hurt, and despite them being very close, she should be more careful with him. Lynn ends up being upset and runs away, pushing her two sisters away. Lincoln sees it and gets very upset as well, saying to his sisters that they were just playing tag and it wasn't necessary to say such things to Lynn because he can take care of himself just fine. Debatable. The sisters try to reason with Lincoln, saying that they're trying to protect him from getting hurt, to which Lincoln responds, saying that he isn't a baby and that he likes to play with Lynn. The sisters then began to say lots of examples when Lincoln got hurt playing with Lynn, but he manages to clarify that this is not Lynn's fault somehow. He then says that he likes to play with Lynn because the other sisters never have time to play with him, for they are always busy doing their grown-up stuff, whatever that means. The oldest of them then say that they are sorry for neglecting him so much, but Lynn is simply too intense, not only with him, but with anyone close to her. And they say those things to her so she doesn't push anyone away, because if she's not careful enough, she might end up on her own. A little while later, Lincoln found Lynn alone on the lawn and starts to tell her that the other girls didn't really meant to say all of that, and they were just worried. He then apologizes to her for crying, and he also says that he does like to play with her besides everything. But Lynn responds by saying that he shouldn't, for they were right about him always ending up hurt. Lincoln says that it's not her fault, but Lynn disagrees, saying that she is the big sister and that she should be a role model and not hurt her little brother. She then says that he should stop playing with her and start playing with their other sisters because they don't make him cry like she does. But Lincoln refuses the idea, saying that he can play with them and with Lynn as well, and that he doesn't care that he might get hurt. Being with her is worth the risk. Lynn disagrees and says that she couldn't bear if he ends up getting hurt so bad that he would actually hate her. Lincoln responds saying that he could never hate her, and she says that he can't know it for sure. Lincoln then says that they've been together forever and there's no way he would ever hate her. He then says that the others are worried about him, but he isn't a baby anymore and he knows what he wants, and also that he can take care of himself. Again, that's debatable. He then says that he loves being with her and that he doesn't care what other people say about it, even if it's their own sisters. Lyndon cries out that Lincoln is too nice and she doesn't deserve him. She keeps going, saying that she just wants to have fun, but it seems that everyone else gets hurt because of her. Lincoln interrupts her to say that yes, she's intense, but that's who she is, and he loves her for it. He ends this conversation by saying that she can't be too harsh on herself, that she can always work on her manners and maybe tone it down for everyone else, but she shouldn't change herself for him, because he already thinks she is pretty neat the way she is, and even if she ends up with no friends, she still has Lincoln. Then they hug each other, and we can see that Lynn is thinking to herself that Lincoln is right, and they will be always together no matter what, only for an hour to pass by and they receive the news that they cannot sleep in the same room from now on because of another baby sister and the twins that are about to come as well. Lynn even tries to say that twin in a room should be good, but that's no use. The father says that Lincoln is a boy, so he's gonna need his own room at some point, which is true, they're just getting there sooner. Both brother and sister look very, very sad with that, even with the father explaining that they still live in the same house and having a little privacy is good. We then see Lincoln and Lynn saying goodbye to each other, since they're now moving rooms. Lynn even offers to Lincoln to bunk with her, whatever that even means. But Lincoln refuses, saying that he needs to get used to his new room and to the independence that comes with it. This boy be acting like he's going to live by himself. Bro, you're moving rooms. It's not that deep. Lynn then gives Lincoln a goodbye present, a plushie of a rabbit named Bum Bum, so he can pretend that it's her when he gets scared at night. We then see Lincoln going to his new room while the sisters mention that it's not a big deal and it was for the best. The next page shows Lynn venting to the baby, that's called Lucy, about how much she wanted to stay together with Lincoln in the same
bedroom.
but that's okay because she knows that they will see each other tomorrow as well, so nothing's really changing though. We then see that Lincoln is trying to stay positive for the new space he owns, and it lasts until night falls, and a storm starts, to which Lincoln looks scared of, since he gets the plushie Bum Bum and hug him as hard as he can. It's late night now, and Lincoln is still afraid of the storm, so much that he is having trouble sleeping. That until Lynn enters his room to check on him, since she knows that he is afraid of storms. Lincoln tries to look like a macho, but it's cut short at the moment another thunder strikes again, making a lot of noise and making him weep like a little girl. Lynn teases him a little for losing his posture and then begins to get in his bed with him. Lincoln then says that their father wouldn't like that she isn't there, but she doesn't give a care in the world. Lincoln says that Dad says he's supposed to get used to being alone, since he won't always have Lynn around to help him, to which Lynn responds that he's wrong. She says that no one would ever get them apart from each other, not even their father or mother, and she finishes it saying that they know they will always have each other. The chapter ends with yet another narration of Lincoln and Lynn saying that they would never imagine themselves to be apart, and coming to the conclusion that their minds were already made. But now a question comes to them. When did they started to realize it? To which Lincoln responds that he remembers it very well, giving us a cliffhanger to the next chapter. Well, what can I say? My mind is destroyed, my sanity is in shambles, and it's not even because it is a shitty story. Quite the opposite, actually. The story made clear that it has love in its prediction. The way that the story works is actually interesting, the narrative's cool and involving, and I almost forgot that this is a story about incest. Keyword is almost. I think that I couldn't make the most of it exactly because of this. How could I? I have a little sister myself, so that incest dynamic is like extra gross to me. During most of it, I felt like, damn, this is such a good talent, wasted on such a grotesque concept. I almost puked several times reading this, which is a shame, since Underrated Hero really knows how to make something interesting, but they had to use it to make a loud-cessed comic. The comic has 5 chapters, including this one that I just brought to you guys, and there is a 6th on the way. I might bring these other chapters as soon as I stop feeling nauseous. That's enough to me for today. Hope y'all liked it, and I hope to see you guys again next video. For now, I must go. I need to dive into the infinite void and see y'all later in another galaxy. Oh, don't forget, if you like this type of content, please leave a like. And if you think that I'm doing a pretty good job by reading this, then consider subscribing. It really means a lot to me. Now, that said, see you, Space Cowboy. Bye bye.